pause for a moment and think what comes to mind when you hear the term fresh seafood. Perhaps you envision a colorful array of fish and shellfish, recently hauled from the ocean's depths, or maybe you imagine the salty sea air and the lively bustle of a coastal market. But have you ever stopped to ponder what fresh actually means when it comes to seafood? Is it simply a matter of how recently the creature was alive, or is there more to it? As it turns out, the answer isn't as straightforward as you might think. Understanding the true meaning of fresh in the context of seafood is a critical skill. It's not just about taste, it's also about health and sustainability. So brace yourselves, seafood lovers. We're about to embark on a deep dive into the world of fresh seafood. Stay tuned as we unravel the mystery behind fresh seafood. You might be surprised to learn that fresh in seafood doesn't always mean just caught. Dive into the world of seafood, and one quickly realizes that fresh is a term that goes beyond the simple chronology of when a fish was caught. It is a concept that encompasses the journey of seafood from the ocean to your plate, and it is defined by careful handling and pristine storage conditions. Let's cast a wider net and understand the two broad categories that fall under fresh seafood. The first category is recently caught, encompassing seafood that is sold shortly after it is harvested from the sea. This seafood hasn't been frozen and is as close to its natural state as possible. But fresh doesn't stop at recently caught. The second category is fresh frozen. This refers to seafood that is frozen immediately after being caught, often right on the fishing vessel itself. The quick freezing process locks in the freshness, preserving the taste, texture, and nutritional quality of the seafood. It's like pressing a pause button on the seafood's freshness clock, but here's the catch. Fresh doesn't necessarily mean better. The quality of fresh seafood is contingent upon optimal handling and storage. From the moment a fish is caught, it begins to deteriorate unless properly preserved. So whether it's recently caught or fresh frozen, the seafood's quality and freshness hinge on how well it's been handled from sea to table. This includes everything from the cleanliness of the catch equipment to the temperature at which the seafood is stored. Any missteps and the freshness is compromised. So when we talk about fresh seafood, we are really talking about a symphony of careful handling and controlled conditions that maintain the seafood's peak quality. In essence, fresh seafood isn't just about the timeline from sea to table. It's about the journey that the seafood takes, the care with which it's handled, and the conditions under which it's stored. It's a holistic concept that ensures that the seafood reaching your plate is the best it can possibly be. So, fresh seafood is all about how it's handled from the moment it leaves the water until it reaches your plate. Now that we understand what fresh means, the question is, how can you determine the freshness of your seafood? The first thing to note when determining the freshness of seafood is the smell. Contrary to popular belief, seafood should not have a strong, fishy odor. Instead, fresh seafood should have a mild and almost sweet scent, similar to the ocean breeze or a fresh cucumber. If your seafood smells overly fishy, it's a clear sign that it may not be as fresh as you'd like. Next, let's talk about appearance. Fresh seafood should look vibrant, not dull. If you're buying fish, the eyes should be clear and bulging, not cloudy or sunken. The gills should be a rich red, not brown or grey. If you're opting for shellfish, ensure the shells are tightly closed. Open shells signify that the shellfish are no longer alive and therefore not fresh. Now, moving on to texture. If you gently press the flesh of a fish, it should be firm and bounce back quickly. If it stays indented, it's a sign that the fish isn't fresh. Similarly, the flesh of a fresh fish should be shiny and translucent, not opaque or discolored. For shellfish, the texture should be moist and plump. If it's dry or shriveled, it's likely not fresh. When it comes to crabs and lobsters, a quick way to check for freshness is by observing their behavior. Fresh crabs and lobsters will show signs of life such as moving their claws and legs. If they're lethargic or unresponsive, it's best to avoid them. Remember, these are general guidelines and there can be exceptions. For instance, some types of fish naturally have a stronger smell or a softer texture. So it's always a good idea to do a bit of research on the specific type of seafood you're planning to buy. Armed with these tips, you're well on your way to becoming a seafood freshness expert. So why does it matter if your seafood is fresh? You might be pondering on this question, but let's dive right in and explore the importance of freshness when it comes to our seafood. First and foremost, the freshness of seafood directly impacts its nutritional value. Fresh seafood is a powerhouse of vital nutrients, including high-quality proteins, vitamins, and minerals. It's a prime source of omega-3 fatty acids, which are not only essential for brain health, but also help in reducing inflammation and the risk of heart disease. Now, let's say you opt for seafood that isn't quite as fresh. Well, as seafood begins to degrade, so too does its nutritional profile. The longer the seafood sits, the more these valuable nutrients begin to dissipate. So if you're eating seafood for its health benefits, you want to ensure that it's as fresh as possible to get the most out of every bite. But it isn't just about the nutritional value. Fresh seafood also has a lower risk of foodborne illnesses. When seafood isn't fresh, harmful bacteria can multiply, increasing the risk of food poisoning. This is especially true for raw or lightly cooked seafood dishes. So if you want to enjoy your seafood meal without the worry of falling ill, ensuring its freshness is paramount. And let's not forget one of the most delightful aspects of fresh seafood, its taste. Fresh seafood has a clean, briny taste that truly reflects the flavors of the ocean. It's a taste that's hard to beat and even harder to forget. On the contrary, seafood that has passed its prime can have a strong, unpleasant odor and an off taste that can ruin your dining experience. So the next time you're at your local fish market or ordering seafood at a restaurant, remember to prioritize freshness. It's not just about the taste, but also about the health benefits that come along with it. After all, when it comes to seafood, fresher is always better. Remember, your health and your taste buds deserve the freshest seafood. In today's journey, we've discovered the true meaning of fresh seafood. We've navigated the waters of understanding that fresh extends beyond just the time since catch. It involves the careful handling, storage, and preservation of the seafood to maintain its quality and taste. We've also learnt the tricks of the trade to determine the freshness of seafood. Remember, your senses are your best tools here. The color, smell, texture, and even the sound can give you clues about the seafood's freshness. Furthermore, we've emphasized the importance of choosing fresh seafood. It's not just about the rich, unspoiled flavors that fresh seafood brings to your table, it's also about the health benefits that come with it. Next time you hear fresh seafood, you'll know exactly what it means. Do share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Until our next culinary adventure, stay fresh and healthy.